And once again, what is up, my fellow patriots? How y'all doing out there in America, land of the free, home of the brave? It's me, the Wicked Wizard, back with another video. Today we're going to talk about COVID, Wu flu, Kung flu. It's from China. Yeah, y'all remember this, right? Um, when for what a couple of years they tried to forcibly inject you with experimental vaccines. They claimed that they were safe and effective, and they were never tested. They told you that they stop it. Remember Rachel Maddow? If you take the vaccine, the virus stops with you. It cannot go any further. Or Joseph Piss Pants Biden, if you get the vaccine, you stop the virus. Otherwise, you're going to be in for a winter of severe harm and death or some shit like that, he said. Remember this? Do you remember all this? Raise of hands. How many of you out there fell for it and went and got this experimental vaccine jab? How many of you had to because of a job? How many of you had side effects from it? How many of you feel duped and regret your decision being forced into doing it now? And then, how many of you knew it was a 100% pure bullshit and we just refused to take any type of experimental injections, no matter what the circumstances were? I told my job when they said I got to take it or I can't come to work. I said, well, then I guess I'm not coming to work. you know. So I risked my job, and unfortunately, they gave me a computer kit, sent me home, and made me work from home. But I guess that's good and bad. But anyway, I was not taking any type of mRNA vaccine, which actually inserts a man-made strand of DNA into your God-given DNA. Because I listened to doctors like Peter McCullough and others, Dr. Bhattacharya, and some of the doctors that actually helped design the MNRA technology, and how they were all saying that this is not how you do it. You shouldn't do this. But unfortunately, Fauci and the whole world fell for this. Remember, it's not from a lab; it's from a wet market. It's from a bat or a pangolin or some nonsense like this. Well, the whole time I was right and they were wrong. I hope that you all didn't fall for it. But anyway, if you did, this is what we have now. This is what's going on. And I think that Trump might be trying to lock up Fauci. Let's just go through this real quick. So, number one, the virus possesses a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. That would be the spike protein. Data shows that all COVID 19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans, which runs contrary to previous pandemics where there's always multiple spillover events. Number three, Wuhan is home to Chinese foremost SARS research lab, which has a history of conducting gain of function research, which is gene altering organism supercharging and inadequate biosafety levels. It's a very poorly run laboratory. If you don't know what gain of function is, it's quite simple. If you're a scientist, I guess. But basically, what they do is they take an unknown virus, say that's only occurs in animals, in this case, bats, and they take that virus that only spreads from bat to bat. It's not deadly; it doesn't hurt the bats. But they take it and then they gain function of it. So in other words, they manipulate it so that it could spread to humans, and then they manipulate it to make it as transmissible as possible, as deadly as possible. That's gain of function. And yes, it's still going on to this day. And it shouldn't have been happening here, but it was. Wuhan Institute of Virology researchers were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019, months before it was discovered at a wet market. By nearly all measures of science, if there was evidence of a natural origin, it would have already surfaced, but it hadn't. And we said that over and over and over and over again. But do you remember that you couldn't do that? They would shut you down. You were canceled. You couldn't make a video here on YouTube about it. You couldn't post stuff on Facebook or Twitter. Your account would be banned. Yeah, this was the biggest scam ever pulled on the entire world. And unfortunately, most people fell for it. But not I. Not I, said the spider to the fly. Not me. Hell no. I possess critical thinking skills, and I don't trust anything the government ever says or does. Anyway, so this is where the Wuhan Institute of Virology was in Wuhan here, right? And you can see the Hunan seafood market was about 7.5 miles away. So pretty darn close, right? How convenient. Let's just pick the wet market and say that's how it happened. Anyway, again, the proximal origin of SARS-CoV-2. Can't call it Wu flu. Somehow that's a racism, even though I don't know, like a Lyme disease from Lyme, Connecticut. I don't know how that's racism against Lyme, Connecticut, or Ebola virus is racist against Africans and Ebola. It's just bullshit that the lefty scum made up and to try to bash Trump. Yep, and Dr. Fauci pushed his preferred novel that it originated in nature from day one. Do you remember this? Gain of function, elaborated incident involving gain of function research, the most likely origin of COVID-19. We all said that way back in the day. I mean, there's a lab that does this type of stuff. It's right there. It's like it wasn't a stretch of the imagination to, you know, to call that out. And this is how it was done, by the way. So I don't know if you know, but Obama put a stop to this gain of function research stuff before he left office. So when Trump came in, Fauci loved doing this. Fauci loves gain of research. Fauci is a sick, perverted dude. You know what he likes to do? He likes to take beagle dogs. You know the cute little beagle dogs. Put them all in cages with their necks, with their heads hanging out, and like one of those cones that you put on dogs, and fill them full of flies or ants, and let them watch them eat their faces for some kind of a study. I don't know what they gain from that, but that's the kind of man Fauci is. But anyway, that's how it happened. We all knew it. Eco Health Alliance, run by Peter Daszak, over here. I'm sorry you're not seeing this. So, Eco Health Alliance, under the leadership of Peter Daszak, use U.S. taxpayer dollars to facilitate dangerous gain of function research in Wuhan, China. After the select subcommittee released evidence of Eco Health violating the terms of the institutes, grant departments, they tried to shut it down. So Fauci said, I don't fund gain of research. We don't fund gain of research. We don't do any such thing. We don't do that here. So all he did was he passed the money over to Peter Daszak there. And Peter Daszak took that money over to Wuhan, China, and they continued to do their gain of function. NIH failures. Yep. Procedures for funding and overseeing potentially dangerous research are deficient, unreliable, and pose a serious threat to both public health and national security. Yeah, these people, they're evil. They're evil. And then what happened? Really? What happened here? Oh, oh, Dr. Fauci is always saying, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't need a pardon. But what happened? Boom, blammo. Executive grant of clemency. Joseph R. Piss Pants Biden, President of the United States, hereby pardon Fauci for anything that he may have, any offense against the United States he may have made or committed or taken part in from January 1, 2004. Wow. A blanket pardon back to that January 2001. Wow. Where else did that come up? Oh, yeah. That was Hunter Biden, right? Hunter Biden had the same pardon. What was happening? Oh, the Ukraine stuff. Hunter was making money on the board of the Ukrainian gas company, but Biden's not corrupt in any way or shape or form, right? Anyway, there was all kind of instruction. Look, HHS instruction. The Biden administration's HHS engaged in multi-year campaign of delay, confusion, and non-responsiveness in an attempt to obstruct the Select Committee's investigation and hide evidence. HHS. Guess who runs that now? Remember, it was that Rachel Levine. Rachel Levine. Yeah, Admiral Levine, a dude in a dress. Yeah, now it's run by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Yeah, gonna get to the bottom of some stuff now, huh? There's some things are gonna come out, right? And again, EcoHealth obstructed, Peter Dozek obstructed, of course. Dr. David Morans, who's Dr. Fauci's senior advisor, deliberately obstructed the select subcommittee's investigation, lied to Congress numerous occasions. New York obstruction. Now, that's a good one, right? Um, uh, Governor Cuomo, and was it Cuomo? And it was also Whitmer, I believe, in Michigan. They took all their elderly COVID, they took COVID patients and put them into the elderly facilities, thereby spreading the COVID to the elderly who were actually at risk for it because they had other comorbidities, and killed like 16,000 people. So that's real nice. And of course, Governor Kathy Hochul's, she's trying to keep that under wraps, right? Yeah. All right, and then there's a whole video here, but it's very very long, so I'm not going to play it all here. But I will show you this the one part I got over here. This is where Dr. Ron Paul, who I always loved on the topic, would chime in.
Today we are here to examine one of the most critical and debated questions of our time. Did COVID-19 originate in a lab? To answer this question, let's revisit the early days of the pandemic and examine what some of Dr.
So anyway, yeah, sorry, there's a problem with the volume at the beginning there, but anyway, Dr. Fauci is he just is an evil dude. Dr. Rand Paul, he was always the only one that really putting Dr. Fauci in his place, and of course, the Biden administration made it so that you can't do anything. Getting back to this over here, so the Health Organization, which thankfully Trump pulled us out of because it's 100% bullshit. Their response to COVID-19 pandemic was an abject failure because it caved to pressure from the Chinese Communist Party, right? And placed Chinese political interests above international duties. Social distancing, remember this shit? 6 feet apart, social distancing recommendation, which shut down schools, small businesses across the country, was arbitrary and not based on science. In other words, Fauci just made that shit up out of his ass, right? Mask mandates. There are no conclusive evidence that masks effectively protect Americans from COVID-19. Of course not. You could smoke a cigarette through a mask and have the smoke come out. And those smoke particulates, are a million times bigger than virus particles. So if smoke particles come out the mask, virus particles go right through them. Yes, right? Lockdowns, prolonged lockdowns caused immeasurable harm, not only to the American economy, but also to the mental and physical health of Americans, with a particularly negative side effect on younger citizens. Rather than prioritizing the protection of the most vulnerable populations, which have been the elderly, the obese, and folks with other comorbidities, federal and state government policies force millions of Americans to forego crucial elements of a healthy and financially sound life. Yeah, they shut you down. You couldn't go to visit your dying grandma in the hospital. You remember this stuff? The kids, yeah, if you had young kids, they were masked up. They have speech impediments now. They didn't learn how to talk properly. They kept them out of school for 2 years. Their social skills are in the tank. It's crazy. It's just crazy, right? And again, former governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo, March 25th order, which forced nursing homes to accept COVID-19 positive patients, was medical malpractice. Yep, this guy caused 16,000 people to die. easily. And now he's running for the governor of New York. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Lefties always fell upwards. COVID 19 information. Public health officials often misled the American people through conflicting messaging, knee jerk reactions, and lack of transparency. More egregiously, the federal government demonized alternative treatments and disavowed narratives such as the lab leak theories in a shameful effort to coerce and control the American people's health decisions. Yeah, lots of kids died. Do you know how many people dropped dead from myocarditis, pericarditis? There have been found blood clots that are 6 inches long in young men. Kids drop dead. It mainly affected young, healthy men, adult men, right? Anyway, this is all put out here. And if you want, it's White House. It's a covid.gov is the website. Covid.gov. COVID.gov is the website here. So feel free to go browse at your leisure here. And then there's a download. If you wanted to download the entire report on this, you certainly can. But anyway, obviously, everything they did and said was a lie. They lied to you from day one. COVID was never a deadly disease unless you were already elderly, fat, and had other comorbidities. It certainly didn't affect any children. Um, and the treatments, the ventilators, if anybody got put on a ventilator in the beginning, their hearts got blown out, that killed them. This was handled all wrong. And I don't know, man. Is Trump going to try to put Fauci in jail where he belongs? Prison? Well, I'd hope so. Anyway, let me know down in the comments below. Did you fall for it? Did you get it? Did you take the vax? Did you have an injury? Lose a job? Did you refuse it? What happened with you? And what do you think? Should Fauci be in prison? Anyway, let me know. Until next time, peace.